ए क्या okay.
अनि तिनीहरूको क्याचमेन्ट एरिया चाहिँ वाटर सोर्सको जो बेस लाइनतिर कलेक्ट गरेर आफ्नो यो पछि अब मनसुन आउन अगाडि पानी चेन्ज भयो भने के चाहिँ पहिला स्टार्ट गोलाल त्यहाँ सिनो पाँचवटा गाउँमा त एउटा पनि पानी खानु हुँदैन सबै पितलको डाइमेन्सन
अनि पाँचवटा गाउँमा खेती कन्टामिनेसन भएको चाहिँ कसरी भयो
यही अवस्थित अब
अनि कपरेट भयो होइन एउटा सिस्टम के
यो पहिला चाहिँ अब पानी अब चाहिँ ओपनिफिकेसन
त्यसले गर्दा
हो पहिला चाहिँ सरकारले
पाइप थियो
पाइपहरू ठाउँमा भएको अनि अब पहिला पानी पराएको त कोही बेला 5 किलोमिटर पर्छ त्यहाँबाट पाइप लिएर आएको छ अब त्यो सबै त्यो ट्र्याक गर्न पनि सक्दैन उनीहरूले चाहिँ बेसिक एकदम एक्सटेन्सिभ प्रोसेसबाट चाहिँ कल्चर गर्दा चाहिँ त्यो पानी सब कल्चर गर्दै
So he hasn't joined in yet.
त्यो ऱ्यापिड डायग्नोस्टिक्स छ एटलिस्ट like 4 मिनट लाग्छ अनि एउटा स्याम्पल प्रोसेस गर्नु कल्चर गर्नु पऱ्यो त्यसपछि कल्चर के सब कल्चर गर्नु पऱ्यो सब कल्चर गरेर फेरि प्लेटमा त्यो आइडेन्टिफिकेसन गर्नु पऱ्यो अनि त्यो कम टाइम लाग्छ भेरी रिसोर्स
अनि त्यसपछि
पानी कहाँ बोल्यो कहाँ ल्याउनु टाढो छ पानी छ क्या छ त्यहाँ यति नै खाएर के लाग्छ तर अहिले के भयो भने लाइक गभर्मेन्टले चाहिँ 5
Because I can only view in that link, I cannot participate.
by open
Yeah. See, I see him here.
The bathroom were lost. I should have
Nikhil?
Yes.
You guys are ready?
Yes. Maybe in 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll begin in 5 minutes.
No problem.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, your conversation, yeah.
Maybe in 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll begin in 5 minutes.
No problem. मुझे म्यूट में रहने पर क्या रहने? हाँ?
Yes.
म्यूट में चाहिए? हाँ? करा तो
So namaste everyone.
You have to speak here. And yeah, just mute that, I think, because hello everyone. So welcome to the second session for the Buildathon for Nepal. And if you are joining us remotely, welcome as well. So we'll begin with the presentation and begin. We'll introduce our speaker and then we'll have a short presentation. So yeah, thank you again.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you to those who are joining us remotely. So I'll start by introducing Dr. Nama Burathoki of Kathmandu Living Labs. As some of you are probably aware of, he's been involved in the relief effort from within hours since the April 25 earthquake. And Kathmandu Living Labs has been doing phenomenal work in terms of providing detailed maps for navigations to not just Nepal Army and police, but also relief groups, NGOs, INGOs, and individual volunteers. And Kathmandu Living Labs is now being recognized for their work across the world. They've been featured in various news outlets, and we are really happy to have Dr. Nama Burathoki with us here, who will be presenting his ongoing work and also presenting to us what the challenges and gaps are. Welcome, Nama.
Thank you, again. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning from Kathmandu. But begin, by the way, if I need to increase or decrease my voice, suggest me. Is this okay?
Okay. Yeah, this is okay.
Okay. Good morning again. Thank you for organizing this. Begin, thank you a lot. Thank you, Nikhil, and thank you everybody for your time. What I want to do now is give you a quick overview of what Kathmandu Living Lab is doing since the earthquake and even before the earthquake. And then I will sketch some possible areas for collaboration. And then we'll see, what, after the discussion. I'm not sure whether I can fully participate in the discussion, but I'm very much looking forward to your discussion after my presentation. So my quick introduction, began, I've already given a quick introduction. I want to add a couple of things. I was at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign from 2005 to 2010 in a grad school. And then I came back to Nepal. So can you see my screen? Can
see.
I just want to show you a map. Okay. Not doing version. Okay. Yes. Can you see a map? A screen with the map?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. click there.
We can see.
Okay.
Yes,
What
now we
about?
can.
Okay. Okay. I hope
Yeah.
a lot of you are familiar with OpenStreetMap. This is a crowdsourced mapping, crowdsourced map. Kathmandu Living Lab was working on this map even before the earthquake. So if you look at the map, this is Kathmandu Valley. You just zoom in. You go to, you can see a lot of details here. You can actually see the individual buildings. All those gray boxes are individual buildings. And in GIS terminology, these are actually the vector data. So it's not image, it's not satellite image, it's not other image, it's actually vector data. People can download all this map. They can use in whatever way they like. They can put their own data on top of this data and do a variety of analysis. For someone living in US or Canada or any other advanced country, this might be very trivial, but in a country like Nepal, having access to these detailed maps, free, online detailed map, is very important. And one good thing with OpenStreetMap is that all this data is also available offline. You can download this data, put it in a computer and do whatever you like. So I'm just trying to give you a sense of what Kathmandu Living Lab was doing even before the earthquake. So we were trying to build the digital community, OpenStreetMap community, giving training to people, schools, colleges, youth groups. We call them digital youth. People, we spend a lot of time playing with digital technology. So we used to tell them, instead of using and spending a lot of time with the Facebook, why don't you reduce your Facebook time by a few minutes a day and then map your community? There is obviously a number of advantages. The first, youth have opportunity to get out of the room and go to the natural environment, observe consciously the surface of the earth, begin asking deep questions, and map things, put on the map, and their contribution will be available to a lot of other people. In many cases, can also save lives, like what is happening in Nepal now. So that was what we were doing, massively building young OpenStreetMap, youth community. So after the earthquake, the map, of course, became even more important. Without map, people cannot navigate, particularly those who are coming from other countries. For them, navigation is nightmare. They don't know the local geography. So the value of map became even more important after the earthquake. So what we started to do is right from the second day of the earthquake, we appealed the international community. There are a lot of people who map. Okay, I am. Give me a second. I'm showing you. Okay, so here is the thing. Before the earthquake, Kathmandu Living Lab was mapping, but it was more focused on the cities, Kathmandu and other major cities, because we did not have a whole lot of resource to map, remote areas. But what happened after the earthquake was, earthquake badly hit many remote areas, and we didn't have map for those areas. So there is where the international OpenStreetMap community joined us. Let me just show you a couple of screenshots. The screen you see now is an area from one of the districts called Gorkha. The screen you see now is before the earthquake, and this is after the earthquake. So within a couple of days from the earthquake, we were able to bring a lot of international mappers. They started to contribute because in OpenStreetMap people can map remotely. They don't always need to be physically on the ground. There are certain things that people can map from distance. So, so let me show you another screenshot. This is an area called Melamchi, so which is one of the quake hit districts, quake hit area. So this is the screen you see now is before the earthquake, and this is after the earthquake. Look at the difference. So after the earthquake, there are a lot of mappings, the roads, the buildings, and many other features. So now let me show you the people who participated in this mapping. Let me show you another screenshot. Go down. Can you go to? Okay. So now I show you another screen. So OpenStreetMap response to the April 25th earthquake in Nepal. If you look at the number here, user contribution, nearly 6,000 people have participated in mapping Nepal, during last about a month. This is amazing because in OpenStreetMap, this is the first time that so many people have participated in mapping Nepal, and everybody in OpenStreetMap community is amazed. In Haiti, for example, when there's an earthquake, about 600 people mapped Haiti in about a month. In Philippines, when there was typhoon, about 1,300 people mapped typhoon, the typhoon hit areas in about a month. In Nepal, about 6,000 people mapped, have taken part in mapping Nepal. This is just amazing. I don't know what was the factor behind, this question, for hopefully some resources will take it. But anyway, so those many peoples have been mapping. If you just look at this curve, right after the earthquake, there is a spike. Of course, a lot of people started to map, but the mapping is continuing. So what Kathmandu Living Lab is doing is basically three things. One is engaging that many international people in mapping Nepal, and that's a huge task because 6,000 people distributed throughout the world. We have never met them, and we don't know who they are, but still we have to engage them meaningfully to produce something useful for Nepal's crisis. So that coordination was done by Kathmandu Living Labs, of course, in coordination with ART. ART is ART is a humanitarian OpenStreetMap team. So this is a subset of people within OpenStreetMap community who have deep interest in connecting OSM to humanitarian work. So Kathmandu Living Lab was coordinating this work from on the ground, and HART was, HART is located in Washington, D.C. By the way, I also serve as the board of director to the HART. So this is one thing that Kathmandu Living Lab has done, and this map was actually, is serving as almost a default map in Nepal after the crisis. Do you? Okay. You can see you stand by the. Will begin shortly. What's that? Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So Kathmandu Living Lab basically is doing three activity. One is something that I just described you. The second one is when you do have all this map, then for many non-techie people, this map is still very difficult for them to meaningfully use. Then what we did was this. So we pulled the map data from, OpenStreetMap, and then we created a site called quakerelief.info. Basically, we have created a variety of maps here, right from the second day of the earthquake. So when you have time, you spend, just explore this. So, for example, this is deaths and injuries due to the earthquake. The map data that this map uses is OpenStreetMap data, and it also pulls data from different sources. For example, so these are the houses destroyed, and if you want to see the injuries, the injured people, if you want to see death, for example, So these numbers are coming from Nepal government's disaster relief, DRR portal, and then we utilize that numbers and then put it on the map. So there are also a lot of other maps, for example, the intensity, population, blah, blah, blah. And so satellite visible damage assessment, and we have also created the PDF maps. For example, if somebody is willing to go to relief or response work in one of the district, that person or that organization would come to this site, just click on this map. It's a PDF map, just print out and then go. They don't have to come to us. So we got a lot of requests from people through emails, through phones. I'm going to this particular area. Can you give me a map? Okay, and we say yes, sure. And then we create map. We also send that map to them at the same time that we also make that map available here. So there are a lot of maps here, by the way. So it's easy for people to just print out and go. So that's the second piece of the work we did and we've been still doing. And the third piece of the work that has got a lot of media attention is this, the quakemap.org. So right after the earthquake, one of the things we learned is, the gap in information. There are a lot of people trying to help. Of course, there are a lot of areas where help was needed, but there was a problem of matching. There was a gap between what people are looking for and what people or organizations are trying to give. So as a result, there was a lot of duplication. In certain areas, I know many organizations went with relief materials, whereas in some other areas, nobody reached there. So we quickly saw this, and then we decided to create this site called quakemap.org. This is basically ECHD deployment, but we have added a number of features here. So if you we do have about 2,000 reports here. Some of the reports are very detailed, So basically, it started, we invited people to submit what they are looking for. So people would use SMS, people would use, smartphone with, geolocation. People would also directly come to this site, go to that specific location, and then put the report. Just for example, let me just show you one of the repos. All those reports are, geolocated. So people can look at precisely the area they are interested to help. For example, let's see this. This is Shindu Palchuk, So now these people have also started putting the different kinds of report. This report is, this is what I gave to that area. Initially, there were most of the reports were reports about the demand, about the need. And let me try to show you. So let me click this one. Help to earthquake victim. So this is what So people are saying. People also give phone number, for example, because in crisis people are desperately looking for something, and with that phone number, our volunteer group verify. They ask, sometimes people also do have a tendency to exaggerate. So report comes to this site, and then our volunteers team call them, verify the information, and then if you look at it, there are a lot of comments. So once you verify it, you put a comment, say this has been verified. Okay, the need is genuine. And then whether certain action has been taken to that particular report, and there another comment. Usually what we do is we direct that particular report to organizations, relief and response organizations, because we also do have a list of organizations which are working for particular areas. So it's just basically a matchmaking sort of things. So crowdsourcing, getting the need from citizens and their loved ones, and making sure these reports are directed to the right organization. That's what we did. We actually did have about 25-30 volunteers working heavily. right after, they started working right after the earthquake. So three different pieces of the work Kathmandu Living Lab has been doing. They are, of course, interconnected. All these three works use OpenStreetMap as the base map, and then build on that in different ways. So that's the work. And now, Bigen and I have been talking. What could be the possible areas where we can. So I want to go back to the video. So okay, now that's all I have to show. Now I do have a couple of suggestions for you. In a way, possible areas where we might appreciate, if you could help us. The first one is the quakemap.org, the last, the site I showed you. Does have a lot of information. Information coming from people, a lot of comments, and a lot of those data are also in the text. So ideally, we would like to quantify those data and also create different kinds of infographics so that people can very easily comprehend the information. So that could be, I don't know whether that aligns to your interest, to your expertise. That's one of the areas where we seek help from, from you or other people. Second one is we are turning our attention to rebuilding and reconstruction. That's a longer term work, and it will take at least a few years. One of the things we're very interested is, to visualize and monitor the progress of the reconstruction. For example, it could be something similar to Nikhil's, street scores, something similar to, So you would look at the particular geographic location, you would go there, you would click, how many houses have been built over the last, month, for example, how many schools, how many hospitals, because in many quake-hit districts, all schools, all health facilities, all buildings have been collapsed. So we have to, build that. And government is working on different mechanisms to build that, but Kathmandu Living Lab is centrally interested to work on information, because that would give inspiration to people to be able to see the progress openly. Citizens would love, development agencies would love to see that. Funding agencies would be interested in that. Even government would be happy to see the progress they are making. So there are two things at this. One is data. A lot of data has already been collected about the damages. We could begin by visualizing the damage, and then once the reconstruction starts, then we could start to work on the visualization of the reconstruction work. That's the second stream of the work. Kathmandu Living Lab is very interested. Of course, there are a lot of details. If you guys are interested in that, we'll be more than happy to have further discussion. But today, I just wanted to point you to a few different directions. And third one is this. Right today, I got a call from National Planning Commission. National Planning Commission does have a lot of data. And they are very interested to make this data accessible to public, basically to open this data. So they were requesting me, can you help us to open this data? I haven't seen in detail what data they mean, but I'm pretty sure they do have data, a variety of data. So data is also, some data is also georeference, located to geography. Other data could be, so different planning data related to different planning activities. So I am yet to understand their data and their, what they want out of this data, what they exactly want to do. I'm meeting them sometime next week, and if any of you are interested in this, I will be happy to again to discuss further. So this is not something exclusively related to the earthquake or post-earthquake thing. This is data that the National Planning Commission has been collecting, or you know, I don't know, since many years. So these are the three possible areas that we would love to explore to collaborate with you. So I think I'm taking a longer time than I was supposed. Finally, Kathmandu Living Lab is a very small organization. We just started this in 2013. We don't have a whole lot of resources to do the kinds of things people expect us to do. So we have started funding. I'm pretty sure some of you are aware of that. You know, if there is any opportunity to share the link to our crowdfunding site in Diego, we would appreciate if you could share it to other people. Thank you very much. If you do have any questions, I will be happy to answer those questions now, or through email, or I'll also be happy to meet you again. First thing is we need to, make sure that some of the things I presented is something you are interested in. Thank you very much.
Namaste, I'm Subarna President. I want to have can you elaborate on the first request, or actually the first item for collaboration, the quantification?
Can you repeat that question, please?
So the first item for collaboration, you talked about quantification of data. Can you elaborate on?
Well, yes. The quakemap.org does have a lot of data. These are data about the request that's coming from people, from victims or their loved ones. Basically data about this. I need 200 tents. I need medical services. I need food, sort of things. And once the request comes there, and we do have a verification team, we do have we process that request and also add further information saying this request has already been acted, or this request is not actually something that anyone can act. This is impossible, sort of thing. So we keep on adding that information. So as a result, that particular request gets more information. So there are many requests like that. And basically these are text information. There are about 2,000 reports, basically text. So if we could, that's our imagination. If we could see, try to identify pattern, develop some pattern, visualize, some infographics, for example, what sort of reports are there. I can't tell that exactly. So you need to look at the details of the data. The idea is a lot of people in Nepal are very interested in this site. And we're also thinking to develop this further and get ready for the next crisis. For example, we're expecting a lot of flood in Nepal in the monsoon, for example. So we want to learn from this experience. We want to build some tools to efficiently visualize that information and get ready for the next crisis. So it's basically looking at the information and developing some infographics, some different ways of visualization, sort of thing.
Okay, all right.
Are the links available to those maps at the Learning Lab? The maps?
Yes, I'll put those on the working document. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that is it, Ramadai. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I think that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Nikhil, quick question. How many people are there with you now?
We have about 5-6 people right now.
Okay. Yeah, we don't need too many people, We just need, actually a small number of people make the difference. So,
There are a bunch of people online.
okay. So do you have any other questions, or do you need any further information today?
Anyone else has questions?
No, I think we'll add these comments to the working document. And then we'll share the document with you so that you can also edit like some of the the three questions that you raised.
Mm-hmm.
If we didn't capture the essence of everything, I mean, you're free to make the changes there.
Sure, I'll be happy to do that.
And
So begin.
for you,
I have communicate place to begin. You hear me?
yes.
Hello? Okay. So I'm pretty sure Begin has communicated this to others. One concern I have is that I am assuming a lot of you, many of you are students. You're also busy. I thoroughly understand the grad school life. So how much of time you have. So but if you want to do anything, we need to do that in a little bit of in a planned way. Defining some timelines, some deliverables, so that it's easy for me to communicate to other people what to expect and what not to expect. So that's one suggestion. When you begin to develop that document, also keep this in mind.
Yeah.
Let's try one.
I think, yeah, Vijay has one question.
Sure.
Thank you for that. I actually used your website before I went to one of the villages in Sirdibas in Gorkha. The question that I have is, like, there are a lot of groups of people doing this mapping, and I'm not sure if your map is being used by the UN Health Cluster or like the cluster meetings, because they have their own map. And for rehabilitation, I know ISIMO and other bigger organizations have done their own mapping for years for all these like remote areas. So it seems like a redundancy, but again, like, you have different data points, they have different data points, and I wonder, like, if there's a way to like combine these maps.
Yes, very great question. Thank you so much. Two things. By the way, I'm sitting outside a building, and there is no light. Probably you have difficulty to see my face, but you can. I'm pretty sure you can hear me. So regarding your question, so there are maps. You're right. There are different people, different organizations making maps, but I wouldn't say all of them, but at least most of them are using OpenStreetMap as the base map data. So if you look at the map prepared by UN OCHA, even Department of Survey is just amazing, They all have used OpenStreetMap data because there is no other source of data at that level of detail in Nepal. In OpenStreetMap, as I mentioned before, we had about 6,000 people mapping after the crisis. That means it's a huge workforce. It's almost 2 times the Nepal Survey Department, and these people are passionate. So the map was very rapidly updated in OpenStreetMap, and actually we did have a we provided map every half an hour. When there is new update, and every half an hour we provide map. We have to put that in the site. So as I said that before, the OpenStreetMap was almost a default map in this crisis, after the crisis, after the earthquake. But EC mode, so the UN OCHA, even different clusters in the US, they have used OpenStreetMap as the base map, but they have also put their own information on top of that. So the map, in a way, the map we created has been used widely. But some of the PDF maps that I showed you so other people have also made similar map. But the problem was, we're small. We're very connected to the particularly young self-organizing groups. And I think that's an open question for research. Actually, there is a PhD student coming who is already in Kathmandu from UC Boulder to study this. So who produce map, who use map in this crisis sort of thing. You will probably be coming up with some idea in next 10 weeks, and then we'll share. My hunch is that the map produced by Kathmandu Living Lab was used particularly by small organizations, self-organizing groups, youth groups, because we are already connected with them. And we also work very closely with Nepal Army. But we could not work as closely as we wanted with the UN cluster on map-related things. Other than that, they use the base map we produce. You're right.
Thank you. Thank you.
And to add to that, so what we are doing now is we're trying to organize a meeting, inviting different people, different organizations working on mapping, in order to better coordinate among ourselves. I had a meeting with the Director General from the Survey Department a few days ago. So we have agreed, Survey Department and Kathmandu Living Labs will co-organize a meeting, inviting all other organizations who have been working on MAP, so that we can combine our force effectively and better coordinate for the reconstruction and rebuilding.
I had a question, if we still have time.
Sure.
Namaste. So I'm Nishan, and I'm involved with One Stop Portal, which hopefully we're going to have time to talk about soon, and Kaha.co. So Kaha.co functions as a need supply matching thing. It sounds very similar to what you described with the Quake map. My questions were around that space. First of all, like, how useful is actually having stuff on a map? Because we looked at the USAID platform, and we pulled up some stuff from your APIs. We have the capability of sending data to your APIs, and we've been working with some other parties that are using the USAID platform as well. We ended up not trying to focus on it too much because apart from just being able to see a map, we found from our volunteers that it was not useful for them going out on the ground because the data on the maps are not as accurate as we'd want them to be. Like, even Google's maps in Nepal aren't as accurate. So my question there is, how useful is having stuff on a map, and how are volunteers on the ground using it? And just for reference, Kaha is a small youth group that basically built the platform out on the day of the earthquake, and we see a lot of users. And from the conversations I've had, it seems like KLL has also been using that data. We've also sent out CSVs of our data to KLL to make the process easier for you guys.
As you know, Nepal is not very map culture, by the way. So we still are oral culture. If we have to go somewhere, we make 5 phone calls, but we don't look at the map. That's a fact. But one of the contributions I would say from this mapping exercise is also to build, map awareness on the map to decision makers, to citizens, to young group. Now, I think a lot of people use map than before. And regarding how useful a particular map is in going to the field, it depends. Map does have different levels of use. The first is, people use map to plan. So let me give you a concrete example. So Nepal Army used some of our maps, for planning their operation. So the soldiers who is in the field will not necessarily use the map, but the commanders. So they can see map. So map is like a mirror. They can see things, I actually got a lot of demand and a lot of requests for which are the roads blocked by the landslide, for example. So, so that's not, so if they have that map, they can immediately see, okay, there is a road, but it's blocked on the landslide, and we cannot take the goods. We have to use helicopter, for example.
And was that data? Were you able to get reports that they were able to find, looking at the map, useful? Because I've used OpenStreetMaps before, and I love the initiative, but sometimes I find the data in it a little lacking, especially around Nepal. And I understand this initiative helps that in a lot of different ways. But speaking of the utility for people going out right now, did you hear back from that being a useful thing?
Well, the use of OpenStreetMap in this crisis is just a powerful instance. But there are uses before the earthquake, there will be uses after the earthquake. OpenStreetMap is for me, I truly believe that we need it. I compare this with an infrastructure. I've actually started talking to the policymakers. When you invest millions and millions of dollars in building a road as an infrastructure, you should also try to invest at least a small fraction of that money in building digital infrastructure, building maps, building other technological infrastructure. But some people ask the same question as you've been asking. So people are looking for food, and then you're talking about map. Of course, food is is the immediate need. But sometimes if you're looking for water, where is the source of the water? That information is more important than map. That happened in this crisis. I can give you many, many examples. So there were many relief organizations. They are distributing tents, for example, and people had difficulty. Where is the location that they can get the tents? Where can they get the food? The information about where is something that you can, that's where the map comes in picture,
So
right?
I completely agree with you on the technology helping these, and like us spending resources to build out the technology to help with this. The part, like, I think where technology comes in personally is technology should help with the other resources that people need, like food and tents and volunteer collaboration and such, right? My only question is, like, is mapping necessarily a good way to go about with that? So if you haven't, I would encourage you to check out kaha.co. That was the first iteration of our site. And we did a lot of these things you mentioned, so like tents and volunteer matching. We use geolocation for that as well. So for example, if you were in Gorkha and you were looking at these things, you would see resources near you. And we have like colors, so we have green and red colors to indicate need and supply, whether needs are being met or not. So my question is not that whether technology is going to help or not. My question is whether mapping itself is the right technology to use in this kind of situation.
Well, I just can't, what I can do is just communicate my belief. I have spent my whole life in studying mapping. So I did my master's in GIS. I did my PhD in crowdsource mapping. I've been working on this mapping, and that's not just me. There are a lot of other people. But I do agree with you partly. That having technology, having map is not sufficient. There is a question of the effective use of technology, effective use of mapping. That's a whole different area of research, area of studies. There are technologies. Look at the cameras, for example. There are cameras in every village. A lot of cameras. But people have taken many pictures, but people do not know how to tag the pictures. So there is in a smartphone, they can enable the GPS. Just having a camp picture versus having a geotag picture makes huge difference now. There are a lot of landslides. Now our geologists are desperately looking for pictures which is geolocated so that they can analyze by putting the soil type, by putting the elevation, So I'm just giving an example. People have camera, but they have not been able to effectively use that. So that's a separate discussion. And also, you guys should study that. What's the best way to ensure that people effectively use technology, people effectively connect technology to solve some of the pressing issues. I don't think there. Honestly speaking, a lot of people emphasize on the study on technology per se, but connecting technology to society, to life is I think a great area. That's my experience in Nepal. We have only realized only a fraction of the technological capability in Nepal, and I'm not in Nepal, also in US, for example. I have worked with different groups. So anyway, your question demands a longer conversation. Thank you for those good questions. I don't want to use up end up using all
Sounds good.
this time.
I'll follow up with you. We're also working on a second version of the project, so we'd love to work with you.
I still do have a lot of interest in research. If you guys are interested to study the use of technology in Nepal, what are the cultural factors? What are the socio-economical factors? What are the political factors? For example, other factors that facilitate or hinder the uses of technology in Nepal. If anybody is interested to do that research, please shoot me an email. I'll be more than happy to help you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Namadai.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you again. Thank you again.
Thank you. So maybe the one-stop team can quickly go through like some of their slides.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I can do that real quick. First of all, the three of us are here from One Stop Portal. Myself, Puru, there's Nissan, who just asked questions to Namalai, and then there's Anu. All right, so in the interest of time, I'm going to run quickly through our website, and along I can describe what we have done, what we are doing, and how we plan to take this ahead. For that, I'm going to use screen share. So let me try that, and hopefully it works. Can you all see my screen?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so this is our new website that we just implemented. We had an older version. This one, we just tried to make it more dynamic so that people would be more interested in coming to our website. When the earthquake first happened, our goal was to aggregate information in one website, one place where everyone could come and find all kinds of information related to the earthquake. The reason being, there wasn't really a centralized authority from the government that was doing this. So there were a lot of very dispersed information on social media websites or different news websites, and some of it was reliable, some of it was not reliable, and there were a lot of Google Docs that were being floating around. So we thought, for us it was very hard to find information, and so we thought if we could come up with a way to put all of this in one place, that might serve the purpose. And there were a lot of other groups doing this, and we have evolved from that into something more. But I'm just going to give you a real quick update of where we are now. So as the homepage describes, it was our attempt to put all the information in one place and help other people find information very easily. As part of that, as Nissan described, we had a database that we had created. It was our sister organization called Kahako, and I'm just going to give you a quick demo of Kahako. Nissan, if you want to jump into this and talk about Kahako, because you just talked about it.
So basically, Kahako was the function of Kahako was to match needs with supplies, and this followed right after the earthquake. So basically, the day after the earthquake, we decided that there's a lot of communication gaps, like phone lines were down, there was no electricity, and then slowly, people were using the generator. So we realized people were able to access the internet, which allowed us to be able to help from here. So what we came up with was a really basic need supply website. So as you can see here, it's just open to the people, and you can add, if you have a need, if you need something, if you need food, shelter, or whatever else, you can come here and add that information here. Or if you have some resources and you want to supply them, you can add them here. And we made the site as user-friendly as possible. We found out we were tracking the uses, and we found out that a lot of people were using the website. So we found out a bunch of small local volunteer groups were using it. Groups like KLL were also using it to feed into their platform. We also heard at some point that the Nepal army was using it, and we've had conversations with a number of government people. So we have this thing called the Kaha proposal. It's a proposal for open data and collaboration, and the way we intended to go about this is open up. So have open APIs where you can exchange information, right? So a number of these kind of resources popped up during that time, and we're hoping if we're able to share resources between the different things that come up, each one will be more empowered, will be more useful in what they use. And then and following that, what we a sort of broader aim that we hope to achieve is that helping organizations that are active in the rebuild effort work together. So like organizations sort of specialize in one thing or the other. Like Vijay has great talent in like medical sectors, right? Like, but when you want to send out aid to a certain location, you probably want some doctors, you probably want some engineers, some people to help with like number of different aspects. So we're hoping we can help these groups coordinate with each other. That was basically what we came out with. The proposal we sent to the Nepal government, but then we sort of realized it's difficult to lead something of that scale, especially because we're just a group of like volunteers from all over the world. It's difficult, like we're not working on this full time, and it's difficult for us to have the necessary conversations in Nepal and be as engaged as we would like to be. So for now, we're going with sort of a localized way to help out, and so we're building V2 of the site where we hope to run with the concept of build a village. So essentially, like we help match donors with the people in need, and we help to promote transparency through the process. We're hoping other teams will pick up the concept and apply the same kinds of concepts with the projects they work with. Sorry if I took too much time. That was
No,
basically
you're fine. You're fine,
Sure.
Nishan. All right, thank you for that presentation, Nishan. Now that we have an idea of what Kahako is, let me run back to our website and see the other resources that we had come up with. So besides the Kahako, we had a few pages. We've changed that since then because the needs have evolved. Here you can see we have a few pages on our website. Let me go through resources, for example. Like I mentioned, there were a lot of Google documents that were being floated around for collecting crowdsourced information on blood donations or for needs, for supplies, for status of hospitals, for the aid delivery to different VDCs. So it was a humble attempt on our end to try to put all the documents in one place where people can go and look at it or contribute to it. We of course listed KLO and other mappers that were doing similar work. It shows a lot of documents that was floating around at that time. Many of this may not be applicable anymore, so we're definitely going to evolve and change this. But there are some that would always be useful, like contact information for different authorities in Nepal. There were some petitions that were floating around, so we put that as well. These resources were being used pretty widely when there were really no websites, because that was really the only way to distribute information and get crowdsourced information very quickly. I'm going to show you a couple more pages that we have. There's one we have on Junkiri. So this is one of our concepts to try to, there was a lot of depressing information going around, so we're trying to inspire people in that time of disaster and collect positive information, because there was a lot of positive information going around. So we came up with a blog post to document all the people who were part of the earthquake to volunteer. They were organizing volunteer groups. They were mapping, for example, or they were going out to assess buildings for structural damage, and in other ways they were making music videos, maybe.
I think we're losing your audio.
People. Okay, sorry about that. I jumped to the blogs. Let me go back to our website. There's another group that had joined us called Fact Checker. Fact Checker is, as the name implies, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Fact Checker, as the name implies, it is designed to verify some of the rumors that were floating around. Just to give you some examples, there were rumors that another big earthquake is going to strike soon, and this was being floated by lots of media houses, and people were in panic mode. Or there were rumors that some football player donated £5 million and some other rumors. So in order to verify whether or not those rumors are correct, the group called Fact Checker, they started doing their homework and doing some analysis on that. And we have they've done some analysis and posted on their blog, and it's also now on our blog. To give you some examples of what they have done, they've analyzed websites, because some websites, any
Yeah, we're losing the audio again.
I can pick up on the
continent would pay.
It's not great.
Can
Guru, we're losing your audio. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, the fact check team has sort of joined us in collaboration, and then I think it's interesting to bring about how we came about. So Bikalpa, one of the members in One Stop Portal, he basically started the website, and our initial mission was to be the one resource you go to for all quality information you need regarding this earthquake. And I think we've fulfilled that mission fairly well. And in the course of going through that, we basically wanted to tackle the social media aspect of things. And for that, we found a lot of like Facebook groups, people on Twitter, other websites, and we ended up collaborating with them. So the One Stop Portal at some point grew to more than 40 something members, and this consisted of like other websites, other Facebook groups, Twitter. So we ended up having a lot of different things we ended up working on, and our sole mission then was to provide quality content on quality resources regarding this earthquake. So we illustrated the different kinds of initiatives that we thought were good, and then throughout the course we ended up getting more into like writing content ourselves, because we realized that's something that severely lacks in Nepal. So for those of you who don't know too much about Nepal, Nepal is a third world country. There's severe lack of resources in Nepal, brain power too, if you will. A lot of the smart individuals from Nepal have gone abroad, and this was sort of an effort to try to unify and make use of those skills that are scattered across the globe as well. And we found out that we were pretty good at writing our unique content as well, data-driven content, I would say. So so if you look at our blogs, we have a number of analysis posts done on this, and I think this. So looking up to the future, I think this is one of the things we will consistently be good at, because I feel like MIT itself is one of the best schools in the world, and like the people that are in the One Stop Portal team have gone to good schools too in that sense, and I believe like the content, the critical analysis that goes into writing these articles can greatly help Nepal. So one of the things we're looking for is like more people to help out with these kind of initiatives. So we're using primarily data from what UN OCHA has produced. We'd also love to use the KLL data if that's relevant. And we're looking for like one of the things, I think if you are interested in helping out, one of the ways you could help us is like just write something, like pick something you're interested in, go do your diligent research, and then come back with your analysis. Another sort of area we I think would want better clarity on is who are actually using these resources. So Puru, if you can click on the infographic, we've been making some infographics as well. These are sort of geared towards the sharing aspect. So this is intended to go on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever. Like this gives you a really quick rundown of like what the scale of the earthquake is, how it compares to Haiti. So Haiti earthquake seems like it was a big deal in the media, right? And then hopefully this will get the message across that like the Nepal earthquake is at least is equally as devastating. There's like a lot of things that we still need to do to help out. So going back, we want to help the initiatives that are running in the country in as much as we can from abroad. Um, the the regions we've identified we can be of help is creating these quality content. So like the kinds of articles that require critical analysis that would hopefully benefit the people using it. One thing we're not sure about is who would be the primary consumers of this. We can create content geared to the mass media, Facebook and Twitter, but I think the group in of itself can do more in that it can sort of help people with like the analysis they need for these kind of things. So it would be open to those kind of collaborative efforts as well, and we're also always taking volunteers.
I'm going
Anything
to
else
quickly
I missed
introduce
out?
our team. Nishan, I'm going to quickly introduce our team. Our team is mostly consisting of Nepali professionals and students. So we're all doing our own work or attending school full time, and this is our To Speak side project, like Kielo was referring to. So we've been putting as much time as we can, but we definitely need more volunteers. There's all of the people who started on this project are very driven, and they're doing this because they want to help. And you can read more about what our background, but I'm not going to go into all that detail. But basically, we're all full-time professionals and students, and we would definitely need some more help. If you have any availability and interest in helping us, there are some positions that we have put together, and you can read more descriptions about it. In short, we need more people to help us with data visualization, like Kielo was explaining, creating infographics, helping us with the website, web design aspect, helping us on the content side with the blog. If you could help us with the data analysis part, or just creating some sort of platform where we could pull in data from different sources and do data visualization that we could use then for our analysis, that would greatly help us. So right now we've been doing everything on our own. We don't have a group of big pool of volunteers like KLL. It's mostly us trying to do everything on our own.
Anu, anything you'd like to add?
I think they've covered it mostly. We're just looking for because like most of us who've been working on this website work full time, like you said. We need a lot of volunteers to help us with what we're working with. We're thinking about taking this long term, having everything that we started with, like putting everything in one place and making sure that it helps who we are trying to help. We need help trying to figure out our target population as well as continuing this effort.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, thank you. We're happy to take any questions you have about this or our efforts, or we can do that at the end when we have time.
Yeah, I think Vijay has a question.
Can you explain the fact checker process?
Sure. So fact checker process, they are actually an independent team that decided to join our team just a few days ago. The process they use to verify any facts is when they hear about a rumor, or when we hear about a rumor on social media or on the website somewhere, they do their research, define data about it. For example, in the case of free plane tickets from Middle East, they were actually able to get a direct Twitter communication from the Minister of Nepal verifying that yes, this is true. And so on. They've employed different strategies to verify the data.
So is it only geared towards like rumors and things like those, or do you think fact checker might also be involved in tracking like aid transparency stuff in the future?
So for tracking aid and transparency, Vigyandai and I have been talking about it at length. We think a platform, just a separate platform where data could be pulled in from UNOCHA or from other data aggregators like Quake, Open Nepal. If we could use those to create infographics or some kind of user interactive, intuitive platform where it shows all the donations going to different donors or funds coming in from different donors, I think that'd be more effective than using fact checker. Fact checker could evolve into something like that we see as controlling corruption, for example. If we could use crowdsourced data where people could send reports about, if they have received some aid in a particular village, or if they've seen some kind of irregular activity, if the, donated materials are being misused by any parties, if they could send that information, then fact checker could probably use that for something that
I can add to this as well.
Okay, go for it.
So I think the problem with tracking funding is the parties that receive the funding and how willing they are to share it. That's one of the things Kaha.co wanted to address in its long-term effort. The problem is you can't be so the government already tried to become the one source of money coming in, and they weren't too successful with that. We don't want to create those kind of barriers. So the only avenue we have left because of that ends up being people willingly reporting the kinds of funds they're processing. And my belief here is if we're able to create a platform that makes it easy for people to do so and promotes these kind of things. So again, going back to, I think if we have something that promotes transparency and accountability, I think people are more likely to share those information. I think this is going to be a crucial part in the rebuild effort. So if we can create something of that sort, I know a lot of people that would be interested in going about with that. And the Kaha platform, as I mentioned before, the builder village concept that we're going about, what we hope to highlight from that is sort of the entire process of so donors given money, this is where this percent goes, this is where this is going, this is where this is going, and we hope to create dynamic infographics or dynamic ways to share that information with people. So I
just
think
adding to what Nishan said about transparency, there is an existing platform called KTM Shapers, and Begin Diana talked about this. It's being used by one or two organizations now, and the push would be to make or encourage other organizations to adopt this or create something similar if this is not as user friendly. But as you can see, data is very transparent. People can download all of this. It shows all the list of donors to a particular organization. It shows all the donated items. It shows all the purchases. It also has receipts for some of the purchases. It shows all the distributions. So this is really the way we would like to go in terms of tracking all of the aid distributed. So there is a platform that would track all of the aid coming in, but this would be more useful for the organizations like NGOs, INGOs, just group of volunteers that are working on ground and distributing materials, but they don't have a web tool, a web interface where they can document all of this to create transparency so people would believe them. And
you want to share it with us, like a screen share or something, like KTM share.
Oh, I thought I was on the screen, but sorry about that. Okay, so sorry about that. I thought I was on screen share. This KTM Shapers, they have already created a platform to create transparency. If you see here, they have a list of all the donors who have donated to this particular organization. You can download all the data in Excel. You can also see all the donated items. Shows all the different values. You can also see all the purchases they have made. This is for a particular organization that two individuals, Lokesh Todi and Aditya Todi, have been using. They have raised money on a crowdsourcing platform, and they've used this KTM Shapers to be more transparent and to be more accountable. They show all their purchases, all the distributions, where all the donated materials have gone, and so on. So now that you've seen the interface, you can see like how a platform like this could be used to create transparency for aid distribution. The challenge here is to make this more user-friendly and hope other organizations adopt this. And if we can create if we can take out the barrier in technology for them, if it's easier for them to use this to track all of this, it'll create more transparency and perhaps make them more I guess more palatable to the donors who would be more willing to trust them.
Yeah, that looks great.
Any more questions?
Did Nikhil get dropped out?
Yeah, I think the group has dropped out.
So it's just the three of us, right?
But everyone can see us.
Yes.
All right. So I think we're going to continue until Nikhil and Buildathon and the group join us. So besides the work that we already have on our website, some of the work that we're actually working on right now is create a lot of analysis of using data that we can find on different websites and different organizations that are making open data available. As part of that effort is to create infographics that we shared earlier. It seems like KLL is also interested in creating some infographics because infographics, allows people, it crosses language barriers. And one of the infographics that we created earlier that we showed you to compare Haiti and Nepal earthquake has been very popular, and it's being widely shared on social media platforms. So we could definitely use more help to create more infographics